Hi friends, it's Tegan here, and it's like the 49th day of January, I think, like the 7th week or something. So I thought it would be a good time to share with you some tips and tricks about how to get through January in one piece. Tip number 1, choose cheaper plans. Now, even though most people are back at work in January, it's still a really social time because it's summer and everyone still has energy from their break. I personally find myself still being invited to quite a lot of plans, but plans can be expensive. My advice is choose a cheaper plan if you have the option. For example, you can suggest to go for a walk in nature, or go for a beach day, or just go do something that doesn't actually cost anything. If you don't have the choice in the plan, but you know that there's going to be drinking involved, you can always offer to be the dedicated driver, because not drinking alcohol is always cheaper and it's healthier. And then the other thing that I really like to do is, if you're invited to a 2-part plan, for example, maybe your friends want to go do some sightseeing in the morning and then go for lunch afterwards, or go for dinner and then go clubbing afterwards, you can just say, I'll come for the first part, I'll come do the sightseeing, or I'll have dinner with you, but then I'm gonna head home after that. And I feel like that's a really good way to still make sure that you are there for the important parts with your friends, but kind of stop the bleed a little bit in terms of how much money you end up spending. Tip number 2, do a pantry detox. Now, I'm sure you may have heard of this one before. I definitely know that I find myself with quite a lot of food in the pantry that I didn't really buy for a reason. It's just there. Maybe it's going to expire at some point. I like to challenge myself in January to really try and use those ingredients, try and make something creative, see if I can get by with just what's in my pantry and maybe just a few fresh veggies here and there. When it comes to fresh veggies, buy what's in season. Especially in South Africa, we're really lucky that in summer we have a wide range of fruits and veggies. So always buy those that are cheaper because they're in season. Tip number 3, use up your loyalty points. So if you're anything like me, you have a bunch of loyalty cards. I like to sign up for all the free ones, things like Clicks and Pick and Pay, Smart Shopper, any of the loyalty programs that give you points. Use up what you have in January. It's a great way to just get a little bit of a discount on your grocery bill or your toiletries bill throughout January. Of course, you have to make sure that you're using them for needs and not wants. If you don't need new clothes, don't spend your Smart Shopper points on clothes from Pick and Pay clothing. Rather spend your Smart Shopper points on veggies or bread or milk or whatever you actually need to get through the month. Tip number 4 is all about managing your cash flow in December, because I actually think that getting through January is more about making sure that you manage your cash flow well enough in December that you don't run out by the 10th of January. So firstly, only receive your salary on the 25th of December. A lot of people who work an office job or any kind of monthly salary job usually get paid on the 25th of the month, but in December, our companies decide to pay us on like the 15th. I personally don't like. I think it's the main reason why January is so tough for people. So what I like to do is, when I receive my salary on the 15th, I transfer the whole thing into a separate account, and then I set up a future dated transfer to send that money back into my main account on the 25th of December. So it feels like I'm getting paid as normal. And that really helps just to make sure that I don't actually run out of money before I run out of month in January. The other thing you can do is manage expectations around Christmas gifts. If your family or your friends really do have a culture of gifting, the first thing I would suggest is doing a Secret Santa, which is where you each get assigned a person and you buy a gift for that person only. You don't buy gifts for anyone else. Even though you usually end up spending a little bit more on that gift because it's a bigger, better gift, maybe it's something that they have actually asked for, it still reduces how much money you spend overall on gifts because you're only buying one. My family did that this past Christmas and it made a huge difference, not only to finances, but also we all got the gifts we actually wanted, which was great, rather than random junk that someone just thought you might like. If that isn't an option, or maybe if you do have a few people that you want to get gifts for, the one thing that I would recommend is having a gift fund. So throughout the year, you have a separate account where you put, like, even if it's 100 Rand a month, you just put some money in there, and then in December, you use that pot to pay for gifts for people. And it means that your month, like your money month that you still have to go through between December's paycheck and January's paycheck, doesn't get as badly affected by having to buy gifts for people in December. Tip number 5, which is actually really closely related to the gift fund that I just spoke about, is make sure that you can handle any annual expenses that might come up in December. I know there are a few people in my family whose cars have to go for a service in December or January. Having those expenses come at you every year, it can derail your month because you forgot that you have to take your car for a service, and then all of a sudden it's a more expensive service than usual, and then you're like 5,000 Rand out of pocket that you weren't expecting, plus it's December, and then it's January, and it just becomes a huge disaster. What I strongly recommend is having a separate account for your annual expenses. You put a little bit of money in there every month so that when those expenses come up, I have a little bit of a buffer. I know I can actually afford it because I've been putting money away for it. And that really helps to get through your normal month without being completely derailed by something that you weren't expecting, but actually you were expecting it because you knew your car had to go for a service, or you knew you had to buy gifts for your family. It's all about managing what you know is going to come. The other thing that you can do is, if you are lucky enough to receive a bonus, save a portion of your bonus for December. So some people get their bonuses in December, or if you get your bonus at a different time in the year, for example in March, what you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to keep 10% of this bonus for December, because I know that I'm going to end up going out a lot, I'm going to end up buying gifts. And so you just create a little bit of a buffer for yourself so that you don't have to rely on only your normal salary for that time. In summary, my tips for getting through January are: choose cheaper plans, do a pantry detox, use up your loyalty points, and then if you can, preemptively in December, manage your cash flow and plan throughout the year for those expenses that you actually know are coming at that time of the year. There's so much more that I could say about this topic, and hopefully I will in future videos, because it's something I'm really passionate about, and I think that a lot of us can really benefit from having some systems and structures to help us get through tough times like January. But I hope that these little tricks did help a little bit, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!